Today we're covering the latest market update for Monmouth County, New Jersey. And if you're looking to buy, sell, or maybe just keep an eye on things, I got all the key insights for you. We're going to cover the home prices, inventory, interest rates, and a few others. And towards the end, I'll wrap it all up for you so this way you can kind of understand what's going on in the future. But before we get started, if it is your first time to the channel, my name is Steve McCutcheon, and I'm a realtor at Berkshire Hathaway. On the Live in Central New Jersey channel, we cover everything related to the Central Jersey real estate market. So if you want to be the first one to know what's going on in either Monmouth or Ocean County real estate, feel free to click the bell, hit the subscribe button. Let's get the video started. As I'm sure the first thing on everybody's mind is going to be the price points. So let's get to it. So for right now, the only numbers that we have for 2025 are going to be through January sales. So the median sales price for Monmouth County was $690,000. And don't forget to take into account that these sales have probably went under contract either November or December of 2024. So we're like the tail end of that year. That's kind of important too, because for January or just for all of 2024, the median sales price for Monmouth County was $680,000. So we are seeing an increase already, and prices are not going down in Monmouth County. Now, where does that compare to just the national average? Well, that's going to come in about $420,000, kind of depending on whatever website you look on. That's actually up a little bit, not quite the peak, but it is up from some recent lows that saw over the course of 2024. So Monmouth County, obviously much higher than that. Probably, I don't know, that was about a $250,000 difference in terms of median sales price. So it's obviously quite large, and you have to make a pretty good amount of money to live here. In terms of the sales size, though, we are seeing quite a big increase in sales. That's going to be a little bit contradictory to the rest of the country, as I'll get to that in a little bit later in the video. But in essence, Monmouth County saw a 5% increase in sales for 2024, and already kick off 2025 compared to last January, it's up 12%. The next biggest thing we want to talk about is going to be the inventory, because in my opinion, this is going to be the leading driver of how the prices fluctuate here, especially in Monmouth County. Most of the people might say it's inventory or interest rates. Yes, it was, but that's typically when the market's more balanced. But when we're in such a heavy seller's market, inventory definitely drives it a little bit more. So right now we have 1.9 months worth of active listings, which means if not a single new home came out to the market for the next 2 months, that's how long we'd have before we basically just ran out of homes. Now, this is going to be a 12-month low dating all the way back to January of 2024, so we don't have a ton out there currently. I will say, though, real estate is very cyclical, meaning during our winter months, this is when we're going to have the least amount of homes available versus the summer months when we're going to be at our peak and everyone's pretty much moving. So from November to pretty much January are going to be our low months, and February starts to heat up a little bit, especially after the Super Bowl weekend. It's, for whatever reason, like our kickoff. Days on market is going to be the opposite of this, and it's actually going to be 23 days on market. So we're going to see our highest days on market during the winter months, but our lowest during the summer months. Meaning that, obviously, again, same thing, people aren't moving as much, so homes will last a little bit longer on the market. And it's actually really good to be buying during that time frame because you might sneak into a home just a bit. So, but that's pretty much what's going on with their inventory. And now everyone's favorite topic you love to hear about, and that's going to be the mortgage rates. So as of me making this video currently, it's sitting at around 7% for the 30-year fixed. It can go up, it could be down by the time this is released, but there shouldn't be too much movement on it. The last Federal Reserve meeting was in late January, and they decided to leave rates as is, meaning no increase or decrease in them. So it should be pretty much status quo until the next Fed meeting, and that's going to be in March. But obviously, different economic policies, a new administration is in place, and a lot of moving pieces are going on right now. So they can move. I'm not saying this can be anything drastic, though. I don't think it should be within maybe a eighth of a point, quarter of a point in either direction, but that's pretty much about it. If we do see a dip under 6, though, that's typically when we see new mortgage applications rise up, and it's been that way ever since. They've pretty much been in the 7% range. Anytime we get that slight dip, they just skyrocket. There have also been a couple of national headlines recently, and two in particular that I just want to cover real quick too. The first one is, if you've seen any of my recent market videos in the past, leading back to the end of 2024, or just videos in general, I've always been saying that we've been pretty low in sales. Well, officially, we've been the lowest since 1995 for existing home sales. So even through 2008, the financial crisis, the years after that when it was harder to get a mortgage, we still sold less homes than all of that. They were all higher years. Now, the difference between that and what we got currently, prices are still rising. We're having multiple offers on properties, and it is a completely different shift versus just not having, prices are slashed in half, plus there's not going to be a ton of sales. Kind of the opposite, where we don't have a lot of sales, but the prices are pretty much still going through the roof, especially here in Monmouth County. So that's going to be one of the big headlines there. Now, a couple different reasons for why I think this happened. First, we kind of mentioned already that people are kind of maybe trapped in their home, have a low mortgage rate, they don't want to move just yet. That could be one of them. The second thing is, we were in an election year. Out of the 4 years in a cycle, the election year is always statistically the lowest sales that we're going to have. The year afterwards is always typically the highest, so we should see it open up a little bit more in 2025. So between the rates being in the 7%, having an election year, a lot of uncertainty in the market, they both pretty much played into part like there. The other big headline was that 71% of realtors did not sell a home in 2024. Now, if you're asking my opinion, it's more likely probably a pretty skewed number for a couple different factors. In our office specifically, let's just say I have 80, or not me personally, but in our office, 80, maybe 90 agents or so that we technically license and can sell in Berkshire Hathaway. Out of that, I would say 15 of us realistically make up the bulk of the business that gets pushed through, and the other 85% pretty much do 2 to 3 deals a year. Maybe they're an investor themselves. They just help out their friends and family, something along those lines. Or they're just part-time and they don't really sell anything and they just keep their license active. That happens quite a bit. So realistically, if we just took the full-time realtors, again, the number is probably going to come down. The second part of it is if you're on a team. For instance, I'm an individual. I have Berkshire Hathaway, my agreement with them, and then I go off on my own. I procure my own business. If you're on a team, you have a team leader. He's going to give you leads, maybe some prospects, some clients, and then in return, you're going to give them a cut of the paycheck that they helped you provide you pretty much. So at the end of it, but the worst part of it, if you're on a team, is you don't market yourself, you're marketing the team. So any business that you do goes underneath them and not yourself. So that can also kind of play into the fact that people that didn't sell a home. So I think the number is truly skewed. I don't know exactly what the real one's going to be, but if you just took the full-time agents, people on the teams, that number is probably nowhere near the 71%. But that is a big headline that's just going around. So just wanted to make you aware of that. And after all the info I gave you, where do I kind of see the market going? Where has it been recently? And that kind of thing. So I would say December, we had a pretty hot end of the year from like November to December. Pretty much I would say post-election, it started to open up just a little bit like we kind of assumed and just talked about. I had 2 closings of mine in December, put a third one under contract. Unfortunately, didn't go through due to some inspection issues, but just to kind of give you an idea of where it was heading. And it really hasn't slowed down too much. January was pretty busy. February is still kicking it off. I'm making this before the Super Bowl, but it's going to come out afterwards, and we're already seeing this. I went to a couple open houses recently with another buyer of mine, and they're looking, in a heavier price range. I would say $800,000, which is even above the median for Monmouth County. We got a home. Went to the open house Saturday, a lot of foot traffic. I'm sitting there, okay, it's probably going to have quite a few. She has some in writing already, some offers. And as I'm talking with the listing agent on Sunday night before I'm submitting it, she said, we have about like 5 or 6, something along those lines. Ended up being 15 by the time the Monday deadline came around. 15 offers on an $800,000 house. Unfortunately, my client lost out on it. Didn't want to come up high enough, but just to kind of give you an idea of how hot the market already is kind of starting to be. And don't get me wrong, this home was pristine, did not need pretty much anything to be done to it or anything like that. So it was definitely top notch. It was priced correctly like it should be, and it flew off the market immediately first weekend. So that is still going to be happening. I don't think that's going to be 15 offers for every single home, but just kind of it was a desirable area and everything was good with it. So based off that info, I don't see prices dropping anytime soon in Monmouth County. We don't have enough inventory, and that's going to be pretty much a driving factor of it. And then once that kind of settles out, if we do get a little bit of bump, we have such a high demand currently, like I just said, 15 offers on the one home, that it's still going to get eaten up and not catch up to the amount of people that want a home here. Now, with interest rates, we also probably won't see them break into the 5s anytime soon, at least throughout the rest of this year. The Fed, basically, the first meeting of the year is like, hey, we're not changing anything, and that's probably going to trickle down. We might see some small decreases throughout the year, but we'll probably hang around the 7 range for a little bit and then slowly backing down into the 6s little by little. But we can't do a big drop because even when the rates go to 6.75 like they were a couple months back, the amount of people that tried to get into the home right away also flooded pretty heavily. So I'd imagine if we saw 5 in front, it would be pretty much Armageddon again. So just kind of my input on the interest rates. So prices go up, interest rates are going to slowly decline, but not to a crazy point. We won't see a 5 in front, more likely not until at least I would say 2026. So based on all those factors, if you are buying a home, I would try to get in as soon as possible, just because as you open up into that spring market, that March time, April time frame, and school starting to end, that's going to just heat up dramatically, and you're going to see a lot more places, a lot more bids going on. On the flip side of things, if you are selling, really not a bad time frame to really put your house on the market. We're past that winter time frame, so if you do it from now until pretty much the fall, you will be in pretty good shape. You'll have the most amount of offers in those spring and summer months, so if you want to time it up a little bit, that's when I would probably recommend doing it. But realistically, just don't overprice the home. Make sure if it is updated, you're obviously going to get a little bit more. But if it's not, just again, price accordingly and you will be fine. You will probably garner multiple offers, especially in the Monmouth County area. So that pretty much will wrap this one up, guys. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you maybe buying in the Monmouth County area and you've had no luck recently? You're thinking about selling, anything like that, or just your insight on what you think the real estate market is going to look like. With that being said, though, if you are looking to move to the area, feel free to reach out. All my contact information is down low in the comments and description. So whether you're 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, even a year out, it doesn't matter to me. Let's just get you on the right path towards your real estate goals. And if you're looking to move to a different part of the Central Jersey area, check out 2 videos pop up and hopefully help out a little bit too. Have a great day.